Okay, so a few years ago, I was a smoker. And while I didn't experience any obvious health issues, one day someone asked me why I don't quit. And I said, well, I don't want to quit. And the person said, well, even if you wanted to, it would be super hard and difficult. But somehow I didn't agree with that. And this idea got stuck in my head. Could I just quit smoking just like that? I had no obvious motivation to do it. I didn't want to, except for the fact that it was bad for my health. But I did it. I challenged myself to quit, and I did. And ever since, this topic of challenging my self discipline to do hard things has been something that I read and extensively researched. So, for those of you who know me, over the years, I have developed many habits successfully, becoming the very best business analyst, participating in competitions and challenges, writing for blogs and newsletters, giving trainings and presentations. And those are just some of my professional habits. In my spare time, I'm a pole dance teacher, I'm a full stack web developer. I like to go hiking, I like to paint, I like to read, I like to write. And since the end of last year, I even became a certified coach in habit changing. So, before telling you how to change your habits or how to become more disciplined, it is equally important that we discuss the things that are stopping us from doing it already. And those are the bad habits. Bad habits are those that consume our time, energy, motivation, focus, leaving us depleted and too tired to do something else or pick up a new hobby. A, a habit becomes bad when we practice it for too much or when we practice it for too long. And I wanted to present you with this long list of bad habits. But over the years, the more I researched and observed people changing their habits, I realized that all bad habits stem from one central belief that, in my opinion, is ruining our lives. And that is thinking that we should feel happiness and pleasure all of the time. When we judge, when we complain, when we procrastinate, when we blame something or something else, when we say that we will do it later, these behaviors stem from the belief that life should be easy. It should be easy to live, to succeed, and to reach our goals. But these things are actually not easy, I'm afraid to tell you. So it's, for example, when we say, I don't have enough money because it's the government's fault, they're taxing me too much. I can't lose the weight, but it's the supermarket's fault because they put sugar in everything. I can't find a job, so it must be the foreigners' fault because they're stealing all our jobs and opportunities. I can't sell my product, so it must be the economy's fault. Does this sound familiar? Now, these are called indulgent thoughts because they make us feel better when we think them. We think that when all of these people will do all of these things differently, then I will change. I will lose the weight. I will find a job. And such thoughts comfort us. They keep us in our comfort zone, waiting for the external circumstance to change before I can change. Because if you think about it, what is the alternative for these thoughts? Acknowledging that the only person that can change your life is yourself. I can lose the weight if I respect my diet. I can find a job if I develop the skills and competencies necessary to do so. And I can sell my product if I actively search and prospect for new clients. But these things are awful because they are not easy. And our brains are like, wait a minute, are you asking me to think that things should be hard instead of comforting myself with the thought that it's other people's fault? Well, yeah, that's a hard sell indeed. But that is exactly what is stopping us from changing our habits. Thinking that quitting smoking should be easy. Thinking that, for example, starting a new mission with a new client should be easy. Thinking that adapting to a new way of working due to a global pandemic should be easy. But none of these things are easy. And when we see that they are hard and that they require effort, we don't do them. And paradoxically, we reinforce the idea that they are hard. Of course, it's hard to change when the effort to change is zero. So, this thought that change is hard has become so hardwired into every one of us that I have seldom met people that told me, oh, yeah, change is easy. We are so convinced that change is hard that we don't even give ourselves the chance to try to change. We make change hard by refusing to believe that it could be easy. So, for example, a few months ago, I had to do this task, which in my opinion was daunting, difficult, and I didn't want to do it. So I procrastinated for about 3 months. And the moment when I could no longer postpone it, I had to sit down and do it. It took me exactly 1 hour to do it. And I kid you not, I said to myself, Andra, really? You procrastinated doing something for 3 months when it actually took you 1 hour to do it? What other tasks have you been doing this with? And how much cooler could your life be if you actually stopped trying to make things easier by making them hard? So, the secret that I'm trying to sell you is this: let yourself suffer. Imagine that it's 6:30 in the morning and you wake up and want to go for a run. Now, I don't want to do this. It's hard. I just want to go back to bed. I will do it tomorrow or I will do it later. Let your brain tell you all of these things. Acknowledge them. Accept them. Let yourself feel tired, unmotivated, frustrated, and then proceed to going for a run. Motivation is not enough to change a habit. Motivation is like that fun friend that when they come over, they light up the party, they give everyone a blast, they know how to have a good time. But motivation is not the friend that will lend you a crying shoulder when you need to talk to someone or bring you chicken soup when you are sick. Motivation is the fun friend, not the dependable friend. What you need is discipline. If you can have both motivation and discipline, kudos. But that is not the norm. The norm is to actually accept that things will be hard, let them be hard, and then proceed to doing what you said you will. I will wake up at 6:30 in the morning and go for a run. So, I wanted to say that I know that this is a very difficult sell, letting yourself suffer, but imagine what would you think if you had a friend that every single time when they said that they would do something for you, they would back out at the last minute? You probably wouldn't think very highly of this person. And yet, that is exactly what we do to ourselves when we say that we will do something for ourselves and then we don't. So, learn to let yourself suffer, and you will see that paradoxically, when you allow this to happen, it will be much easier to proceed to changing your habits. So, in order to help you change your habits, I have compiled a list of the 3 best steps that I know of to changing them successfully. And here they are in order of importance. So, first is to learn how to feel all of your feelings, then establish a minimum baseline for your goal, and lastly, wake up early. So, mid 2019, I started suffering from panic, from anxiety attacks. And for those of you who don't know, anxiety attacks involve a fear of some specific occurrence or problem that can happen. And symptoms include restlessness, worry, and sometimes changes in the heart rate. So, aside from developing these anxiety attacks, I also developed a general state of anxiety. That means that I was constantly restless and in a state of fear. And in order to help me manage this anxiety, I took up smoking again, although I quit many, many years ago. And mind you, I had the impression that it was helping me, but I'm pretty sure it had the opposite effect on the back end. And I suffered from this acutely for about a year. And this taught me actually the first concept that I want to teach you today, and that is to learn how to process your feelings without escaping them. I attempted to escape my anxiety by smoking. Some people do it by eating because food comforts them. Some people do it by drinking because alcohol numbs them. And some people do it by surrounding themselves by other people so that they cannot be alone with their thoughts. And there are many escape paths, but all of these effects are temporary and fleeing. The way out that I know of is to actually sit with the negative feeling and letting it exist. No running away, no escaping, no numbing. In my case, the fear behind my anxiety was the fear of losing someone that was close to me. And it is only when I sat down with this negative feeling and confronted it enough times that I started seeing progress. I had to start to learn to accept that losing someone that is close to you is a natural part of life, and that it would be hard, that I would suffer, that I would go through all of this pain, but that I could still survive. When we attempt change a habit, either by adopting a new one or getting rid of an old one, we will go through discomfort, pain, resistance, tension. We must accept the fact that these feelings will occur, and most importantly, we must accept these feelings when they occur. So, learn how to accept all of your feelings, learn how to allow discomfort in your life, and you will see that paradoxically, when you allow discomfort to exist, it dissipates much faster than when you resist it. The second concept that I want to talk about is the minimum baseline. And this is the minimum amount of effort that you put towards your habit. For example, if you've never exercised before in your life, starting with 1 hour every day, guaranteed to fail. But if you start with doing 5 minutes of movement, either by taking a walk around the block or stretching in front of the TV, is more likely to create a habit which will stick. So the minimum baseline means committing to doing something so small that it's just as easy to do it than it is not to do it. Now, will you have lost a bunch of weight because you've exercised for 5 minutes? Probably not. But you will have completely transformed your relationship with yourself. And from there on, you can make new commitments which reinforce the beliefs that you can achieve the results and the habits that you want. So you will exercise for 5 minutes every day until you get into the habit of doing some form of exercise. The point is first to develop the habit and then to add the desired result, the desired objective, or the outcome. In my case, for example, when I started learning web development, I started with 15 minutes every day of study time. I increased it to 30 minutes, and now I do about an hour. My goal is to do 3 hours of focused study time 5 times a week, but I cannot start with that. I first need to honor the small commitments that I make to myself so that I create the belief that I can achieve the results that I want. So the third step, it's quite an unconventional one, but I do highly recommend that you wake up early. And by early, I mean earlier than what you usually do. It can be 10 minutes, it can be 30 minutes, it can be more. Do not forget to start with a minimum baseline. Now, use this time to work towards your habit. Do not wake up early in the morning to scroll on your phone or read the news. Do something hard, whatever hard may mean to you. In my case, I used to take cold showers very early in the morning. I told myself that if I can take this much amount of discomfort so early in the morning, then there is nothing that can happen during the day that I'm not ready for. Now, I don't expect you to be so extreme, but find your own hard. Um, because time is a mental construct, you will not create more hours during the day if you wake up early. But what you will create is space in your brain. By doing the hard thing so early in the morning, you no longer need to think about it the rest of the day. So if you exercise early in the morning, you no longer have to think about, oh my God, when will I exercise? Oh my God, when will I have the time? Just wake up early and get it done with. And then use this time and energy that you have created to work on something else, like building the career of tomorrow, finding more balance in your life, doing something that makes you proud. Take care of your habits, and your results will take care of themselves. Thank you very much.